As long as it's working.
There's
That's
sound.
the important part, is that it's working.
Hey, speaking of working, this is my friend Dan that I have worked with in the past.
Yeah, we've worked on a bunch of stuff together.
And I'm Kalela. You know that already, probably. I'm a little uncomfortable. I have a headache and I feel like I'm a little bit uncomfortable, but that's just because there's somebody else here, so.
That's great. I feel uncomfortable because I have a chest cough. My voice also sounds a little bit froggy because before we were shooting this, so Kalela came over to shoot this and then we spent an hour where I just yelled about stuff that has happened in my life recently, and she listened and now my voice is gone.
Yeah. We're here today to talk about some mental health stuff because A, that's the nature of this channel, and B, Dan has a brain.
my brain has health. I have a mentality, and thus I have mental health. If I can lead off with something, that's something that I wish we advocated a little bit more. Everybody has mental health. It's a part of us that we should care about, whether or not we have air quote mental health issues. Because it's like everybody has mental health.
That makes sense, but not everybody has mental illness.
Yes.
Is that a thing? Oh,
There's a very wide range of like what constitutes mental illness, and you know, in the same way that you can have that having a cold is different from having, you know, diabetes. You can have...
I thought you were going to say diarrhea, and I'm very sorry, that's not... Diabetes isn't funny.
In the same way that having a cold is different than having diabetes, you can have a mental health episode. You can have a short-lived mental illness, or you can have something more systemic that's going to impact you through your entire life.
Do you have any stuff you feel comfortable talking about on the internet when it comes to
I got a whole bunch of that second one. Aw, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
What do you want to know about?
So do you have any mental health issues that you are comfortable sharing with my 27 viewers?
So I have a bunch of long-running sort of interlocking issues. A generalized anxiety disorder. I have a relatively, I don't want to say mild, but well-controlled agoraphobia.
Just in case somebody hasn't heard that word before, what does that mean?
Normally people think of agoraphobia as a fear of going outside, but it's a little bit more intricate than that. Agoraphobia is when you have developed an aversion to having panic episodes in emotionally unsafe places.
Whoa.
That can end up covering a very wide range of things. So for a lot of people who have a condition like that, if you think about like, well, what's an emotionally unsafe space? It's like, well, public.
Yeah.
But as with a lot of more intricate mental illnesses, like triggers are highly individualized, and so for me personally, like going to the mall isn't so much of a problem, whereas hanging out with people I know is a far bigger problem, like hanging out in large groups of people who know who I am. Because when I'm at the mall, I'm a stranger, and I'm surrounded by strangers, and for whatever reason, that's safe to me. But if it's people that I know, well, my anxiety starts thinking about like how I look to them, how I relate to them, their perception of me, and all of that, and so my panic starts kind of running away with me. And so kind of the funny thing about agoraphobia is it's almost a metaphobia. It's when you've become so worried about your anxieties that anxiety about your anxiety becomes its own thing. So anxiety and depression are probably the two biggest things that I've dealt with through my life, and it's come and gone in intensity. There's definitely been far worse periods than others, but yeah. So a fascinating thing for me, my agoraphobia used to be way worse. Way worse. There was a period of about 3 years where I was essentially on a like fixed schedule. Like my life was on rails. I woke up in the morning, I went to work, I finished work, went directly home, and then sat in my room and played World of Warcraft until it was time to go to bed, and then repeat. It was like I didn't vary out of that at all, and I used it as excuses to not do other things, like not to go to social events, not to, it's like, oh, it's raid night, sorry, I can't make it to that thing, I have another engagement, and that other engagement was playing video games. But because it was a social game, I was able to more easily use it as an excuse, but it was also kind of a crutch, and I have a complicated relationship to that time in my life. But the moment that I recontextualized the illness, I mentioned diabetes earlier because that was actually sort of the framework that that wound up helping me with this. My dad actually got a diagnosis. And that led to kind of a lot of introspection and, you know, soul searching for myself. And it was, I distinctly remember the day I was standing at work, kind of just at my desk, and I had this realization that my mental illness, that the agoraphobia, the anxiety, the cyclical depression, was never going to just go away. That it is an element of my life. It is an element of existing in this body that will be with me for the rest of my life.
Oh, good.
You know, there is no cure, but it can be managed. And if I start that I needed to focus not on getting better, but on properly managing things. And the moment that I started thinking about it in those terms, I got
better.
I got better. Things improved dramatically, like from that one breakthrough. That ironically, accepting the state of things improved the state of things.